Good evening and welcome to the Environmental Commission regular meeting this September 5th, 2023. First, we are going to call to order the meeting and make a roll call of our commissioners. Vice Chair Cohan?
Here.
Excellent.
In person. Woo!
Commissioner Larissa Byrne?
Here.
Commissioner Whitney Swartz?
Here.
Student alternate Commissioner Noah?
Here.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Tonight we have a treat. We are going to have our applicants for student commissioner do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all please rise and face the flag, and we're going to hear from them. Go ahead. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We appreciate your participation. Okay, this evening I am going to make a change to the agenda, a very small correction, and then we can, if anybody else has any changes for the agenda, please let me know. First of all, the approval of the meeting summary was for February 7th, not February 6th. So that will be entered into record as February 7th. Is there anyone else that has any changes for tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda
Okay, with the change.
with the change.
Okay,
I second that.
okay. Thank you. All right, so now we vote to approve the agenda. David?
Aye.
Whitney?
Aye.
Larissa?
Aye.
And I also approve it. Okay. Same situation with the minutes from our last meeting. The minutes are correct, but the reference to the date is incorrect. It was from the 7th of February, not the 6th. With that change, do we accept the agenda? Anybody?
I accept that agenda.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second.
Excellent. All right. Well, so we accept that agenda, and we will vote for the agenda to be entered into record. David?
Aye.
Whitney?
Aye.
Larissa?
Aye.
And I also do that too. Student commissioner does not vote for agenda.
No.
Correct. Okay. It has been 8 months since we had a meeting, so forgive me if I have to once again look at all the rules, but we are going to move forward, and I'm going to read our mission statement. This is my final night as a chair, so I'm going to once again read this for us. The mission of the Environmental Commission of the City of Calabasas is to advise the City Council regarding the stewardship of our environment as it affects the character of the community and the quality of life of our residents. We strive to balance those elements that influence the degree to which our community sustains a social, economic, and physical environment while maintaining and enhancing our natural and cultural resources. Okay, so now that official business is out of the way, we are going to do oral communications and public comment on items not on the agenda, I would assume. Our first speaker, and speakers have 3 minutes at the podium, and we do have that mic live on the podium. Okay, great. Randy Freelick, please come up and give us your name and the city that you're from.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Randy Feilish, and I am a Calabasas resident since 1992, so that makes it 31 years. Anyways, I'm here to talk about Assembly Bill 1322. The history of the Assembly Bill 1322 is this is a new bill that's already it just went through all the committees. It just passed the suspense committee, and now it's headed for the state Senate. And I'm here actually to urge everyone, especially the Environmental Commission, to go ahead and to contact our state senators, Ben Allen and Henry Stern, and tell them that you'd like to vote yes, which I assume they both would do, on Assembly Bill 1322, which is a rodenticide bill. As we all know, Assembly Bill 1788, which was the California Protective bill that we passed in 2020, and it took effect in 2021. What it did was it banned 4 of the second-generation anticoagulants, which are responsible for killing off all of our wildlife, our bobcats, our mountain lions. And although the bill was good, it still left a lot of black boxes around here. And they all have an ingredient called, a lot of them have an ingredient called diaphysanone. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's spelled DIPHACIONE. What this bill would do is 1322 would ban diaphysanone. And so we get one step closer to getting rid of the poisons in our state that are in those black boxes. And, you know, I'm grateful to live in the city of Calabasas. We started in Malibu in 2012 with Malibu Agricultural Society, which turned into Poison Free Malibu. And then we brought it to Calabasas, and we passed the resolution 2013-1379, which at the time did not ban anticoagulants, but just urged businesses to take them off the shelves and urged people not to use them. And it's been an uphill battle. It's been an uphill battle with HOAs, with businesses here. And I think that Assembly Bill 1322 will get us one step closer. It's not a home run, but it's certainly getting us one step closer to getting rid of all these, like I said, rodenticides that are in the state. Again, if you guys can, or anybody in the audience, call our state senators, Ben Allen and Henry Stern, and say yes on Assembly Bill 1322, because it will take place in the next 2 weeks before they close out on September 14th. And then, so there's only 2 steps left to pass the Senate, and then it goes to be signed by Governor Newsom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a second speaker this evening, Christine Renaud. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Oh, yes, Renaud. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here away from the Zoom meeting, so I'm happy to be here. I wanted to talk a little bit about, first and foremost, Christine Renaud. I've been a resident here almost 40 years. And I started Poison Free Calabasas, and we go out and we work with different businesses, local businesses, different HOAs about the dangers of using different rat poisons, specifically rodenticides. And we've done evaluation of the commons area, and we've worked very closely with the management, and it really resonated with them, and they were able to remove a lot of the over 80 boxes that we had counted. They really reduced a lot of these boxes. However, having so many restaurants at the Commons, we noticed that the Commons continue to have a lot of rodenticide boxes, and it's like maybe every 2 feet sometimes you see a rodenticide box. A lot of them are not marked, but there's still nevertheless a lot of them. And I also wanted to bring up the Calabasas ordinance. It's called the Lid Lock Ordinance 2021-396. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because if you take a ride around the commons in the back of the businesses, especially the restaurants, you will see so many violations. I mean, it's just incredible. There's a restaurant. They literally take their trash from the second floor and they just dump it. And I call it a smorgasbord for all these rodents. So even though the management of the Commons is really trying to work with us the best by not putting out all these rodenticide boxes, there's tons of them around the restaurants. And it's just kind of ridiculous, because if they could only clean up and keep their trash bins locked and keep it sanitary maintenance around it, they probably wouldn't have to use so many of these poisonous rodenticide boxes. So I will be calling on the city to go out and see what violations they do have in respect to these trash bins. A lot of them are broken, they're constantly open, And this is exactly how all the rodents and rats infestate. The other thing I also wanted to ask, Alex is gone, and I know that the city has been issuing letters to all the local businesses on the rodenticide resolution that we have. And I would like to find out, has the city been sending out any of these letters? Because there's just so many rodenticide boxes, poison boxes, all over Calabasas. It's starting to look like just a graveyard of all of these boxes. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any more public comments before we close public and oral communications for tonight? Okay. We're going to do things just slightly bit different. We've moved commissioner comments down farther into the agenda so that we can address the two major items for changes to the commission first. So I'm going to turn it over to Philip, who is going to discuss how we are going to handle the reorganization and recognition for the commissioners.
Thank
For the
you,
commission.
Madam Chair. Because you are reorganizing and electing a chair, maybe a new chair, maybe the same chair. But at this point, it should be a neutral item. So staff will take the first part of this, control of this meeting. And as your clerk for that, I would ask at this time if there are any nominations from the commission for the chair for the coming year.
I have one. I would like to nominate David Cohan for chair.
Are there any other nominations? You can nominate yourself if you like.
Do whatever you'd like. I don't want to get...
I nominate David Cohen as well.
Lisa, do you have anything?
I would like to nominate David Cohen.
David, do you have any nominations?
Nominate anybody but.
No.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, candidate is Commissioner Cohen. Is there any other discussion?
No, I just want to say that I believe in the process of rotating leadership positions. I think that David, as the vice chair, is the next likely successor for that position, and that everybody gets an opportunity to have some leadership role while they are here as an appointed commissioner. So David is my choice, and I hope that moves forward. Comments?
Terrific. Then if there are no other nominations, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Cohen, congratulations. At this point, I'll turn it over to the new chair.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Let us take 2 minutes to change seats, because the chair should sit in the chair. Or just change the sign, either way. But, no, you should sit in the chair. You get the gavel. I never hit the gavel, but you can, well, that's okay.
Thank you, Randy and Christine.
I hit the gavel a lot from home on Zoom.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Can't move yours. Oh, is that yours?
I brought mine just to. Thank you very much, JC. Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, I was chair before, and many years ago, and this is a completely different experience since this is our first meeting in person. So part of me feels like you and Beth got cheated. So just in all honesty, I am so excited to be here in person, and I feel bad for all of my fellow commissioners who had to suffer through all those Zoom meetings. I will say that the Environmental Commission has been just crazy these last few years. Both of the last two chairs had to serve for unusual terms And even this election was supposed to happen months ago, along with, the student elections. So looking forward to some normalcy, and I look forward to electing the vice chair. So, thank you. Which will be the next order of business. So, are there any nominations? And feel free to nominate yourselves for vice chair. We are missing one of our musketeers, Beth. But does anyone have a nomination that they would like to make?
Can we nominate Beth if she's not here?
Yeah,
That seems a little, I'm not sure.
Yeah. You can. I mean, we might surprise her if she's elected. But we could also, I'm happy to make a nomination. I'm going to nominate Whitney, who, kind of following in line with what JC just said. She's next in line chronologically. It doesn't always go that way, by the way. There have been times where commissioners didn't want to be chair. There are times where, first of all, as commissioners, we have to be chosen by our city council members. So it is possible that all 5 of us may be thrown out by the city council. But assuming we're here, it is a nice thing to be able to kind of follow chronologically. And just in terms of Whitney, she's a wonderful advocate for the environment, and hopefully will work her butt off on the Environmental Commission. So that's my nomination. Any other thoughts or nominations?
Can I second that? Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Is my mic on? Hold on, David. No longer arms to me. I second it as well. If Whitney is interested and is willing, and it would be an excellent choice. So I also agree.
I'll take that. Thank you.
So why don't we go ahead and just formally vote? All those in favor of Whitney? All right, we'll do it officially. Larissa?
Aye.
JC?
Aye.
And I will say aye. Whitney? With
Thank you so much.
All right. Now let's move on to the meeting. Congratulations. Let's see. The next order of business is the student reps. The exciting, the most important piece of business for the last 4 months. I'm going to just take a minute and talk about the student rep position. When I started on this 10 years ago, there was one student rep position. It was such a valuable role that we added a second person, an alternate. And the student reps have been vital to the success of this commission. And this commission, for many, many years, was the most active commission in the city. So if you think about why people move to Calabasas, they say it's for the schools, it's for the safety, it's for the environment. And so this commission is absolutely representative of that. You heard one of the speakers talk before about the lid lock legislation. That was the idea for that, and that was drafted by a student, by the student rep. So student reps have tremendous amount of power, even though they don't vote for formal things. They do a tremendous amount, and they serve as liaisons for us with the other students with the other youth and students throughout the community. Vital to our programs, to our showing up and having audiences. And so we actually have a student commission task force, and I want to thank Beth for all of her time and effort in assisting. She and I were the co-chairs of the subcommittee. I'm just going to read this really quickly since 4 of you are here and 4 of you are running. I want to start also by just apologizing on behalf of the city to you. You guys shouldn't be sitting here today. This should have happened in May. It was a total perfect storm of bad things happening, and none of it was your fault, and frankly, none of it was our fault. COVID was part of it, and then after COVID happened, several staff members retired or left or quit or whatever it was, and it just was the perfect storm where the city just honestly couldn't couldn't provide enough staff for us to have our darn meetings. So, and trust me, they've heard it from me. So, with that said, your term will last until May, and understand that there are 2 positions. There are 5 of you running. I got a text 15 minutes before the meeting from one of the applicants that he's unable to make the meeting today. But we have 5 applications, and I want you, obviously with basic math, there are 2 spots. So at least 2 of you are not going to be on the Environmental Commission this year. I have personally reviewed every one of your applications and pretty much met with all of you, and I will say that all 5 of you are tremendously qualified. I do not have a kid in mind that absolutely does not deserve to be here. All 5 of you are awesome, and so I'm just making this pledge personally that if you do not end up on the Environmental Commission, please do not walk out of here with your head hung low. I will personally help you to get onto another commission, Mayor's Youth Council. We will do something, and if you are not a senior this year, I'll do what I can to help you to be more involved and to learn more about what our programming this year so that you can potentially run again next year. The role of the task force, this is what Beth and I did, was outreach to the local high schools to promote interest in the student spots, work with the city to get applicants out of the local schools, the environmental student organizations, establish and promote timelines for nominations, applications, elections, etc., serve as a liaison for any student who would like to inquire about the EC student positions, work with city staff to ensure that all Environmental Commission members get the applications on the student applicants, and encourage the elected student reps to prepare and present at the EC meetings and prepare and participate in our subcommittees and events. The logistics of the election process. For this year, we have 5 existing applicants, and you all applied, like I say, well before our May meeting. So I apologize again. I am very pleased with this pool, and I will reach out to each of the applicants. We will try to have a special Environmental Commission meeting in August. Sorry that didn't happen. Again, staffing issues. At this meeting, the environmental chair will call on the task force to lead the discussion of the student rep spots. The task force members will then explain the student rep roles, which I'll read to you below, and we will give the interview process that is entailed so far with the students meeting personally with us. So again, I've spoken about, I personally reached out to the student members, Beth did as well, and we are very pleased with the entire pool. All 5 of you are very qualified. Once the applicants, following the applicants' presentations, you will each have up to 3 minutes, just like the public presentations you saw. You'll each have up to 3 minutes, and then the members of the Environmental Commission are free to ask questions, and then we will vote. Obviously, we are at a disadvantage because on top of all the other problems, one of our commissioners is away. So we only have 4. So in the event that one of you, so what's going to happen is we have a ballot, and each of us, which Trejo will distribute after you speak, each of us will vote for 2 of the 5 of you. After we vote, if any of you get 3 or more votes, you will be chosen for the Environmental Commission. If it ends up that we don't have clear winners, then either 1 or 2 will be a runoff, and the runoff will be done at a special meeting with arranged with the city as soon as Beth comes back into town. So we have the full commission. So sorry to drag this out any longer, but hopefully we have you guys actually sitting up here before our meeting in May when we discharge you. Real quickly, last thing, I'll just read you your responsibilities. First of all, serve as liaisons with the Environmental Commission and the local high schools. Serve as liaisons with all local schools to help promote the current environmental initiatives and programs. provide updates and inform the Environmental Commission and, as appropriate, the City Council of environmental-related initiatives, programs, and activities at the local high schools, and participate in some Environmental Commission events, programs, plans, as your interests are, as interest to you and as your availability allows. This is not a higher priority than your schoolwork. With that said, let's go ahead and move right into the speeches. I'm just going to go right down the order that we've got here.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, I guess Noah, why don't you go sit out there? Yeah.
one thing, if there are two candidates that are tied, we do have a ballot that we could do a runoff for the commissioner and the alternate tonight. If there's
Okay.
3 or more, we'll bring it over to a special meeting after our absent chair returns.
Very good.
Give her a second. She's doing some
Thank you for that, Phil.
sort of logistics.
So the order is going to be Daniel, Navin, Eli, Noah, and Gavin.
So the rest of the candidates are sitting, applicants are sitting out? Okay, so one applicant in the room at one time. Okay.
Thank you for that, Treya.
All right. Hello, my name is Daniel Arslan, and I'm a senior at Calabasas High School. I would like to share with you my journey, passions, and aspirations in the next few minutes. I hope to convey why I'm not just the right fit, but an enthusiastic candidate for the student representative position. I would like to be a part of the Environmental Commission for many reasons. First off, I would like to make a difference in the community through the student representative role. This would be through actively representing a younger generation through the committee. Secondly, I would love to continue to support environmental protection with the help of the city and projects that I'm already a part of. Being a part of various clubs at school and nonprofit organizations allow me to bring a unique perspective to the committee. Third, this would be a great learning experience for me, as I would be able to learn from the established and respected committee members before me. In terms of civil affiliation, I've not only participated in established governing bodies during my high school years through clubs and nonprofits such as the Roots and Shoots Club that I know you guys work with, but I've also ventured into creating new positive change in the community. To help bring forth this positive change, my friend and I, the separate candidate that's not here, started a student battery recycling company, also known as ASBRC. It's a registered 501c3, which means it's a nonprofit organization, which I'm the co-founder and CEO since 2019. Our mission was simple yet impactful: to establish battery collection points at LVUSD schools, allowing families to dispose of their household batteries in an environmentally friendly manner. To date, we have disposed of and collected over 1 ton of hazardous waste. I have also been a leader outside of the sustainable community, as I have been a competitive swimmer for 9 years. My journey has taken me from California sectional levels to international competitions in Europe and the Middle East. I currently represent the Coastal Division of the USA Swimming House of Delegates as the junior athlete representative. This role has given me the ability to engage in serious board discussions and advocate for my peers effectively. I'm passionate about the environment and believe I can contribute meaningfully to the role of student member. My experiences have prepared me for active participation in board discussions, and my role as a leader of ASBRC has taught me the importance of building awareness through marketing activities on social media. The Environmental Commission could greatly benefit from an increase in approachable online presence that resonates with younger generations. I would love to use the power of platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook to make significant impact. In addition, with 3 younger siblings, I am in a unique position to support ongoing initiatives of the Commission, such as the annual recycling drawing contest, by engaging with a younger audience. With siblings at every level of the LVUSD school system, staying connected and informed is not a challenge. I aspire to be a part of the Commission to continue making a difference in our community. My passion for environmental sustainability, my leadership experience, and my dedication to learning and contributing all lead me to this opportunity. I believe that by working together, we can foster positive change and inspire others to join us in building a better, more sustainable future. Thank you for considering me for the application.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you. Worship.
Are there questions? Go for it. Beth, whatever your name is. Whitney,
Whitney.
Vice
Whitney.
Chair.
Vice Chair.
Madam Vice Chair.
Really great presentation about
you.
who you are and what you've done. Regardless if you get on the commission, you're clearly an environmental warrior
Thank you.
and a powerful athlete, and you speak really well. You have a
Thank
lot
you.
of confidence, and I hope whether you make it on the commission or not, you continue with your business and your passion and influencing others in a really positive way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm going to ask questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, can you give some examples of things that you might feel passionately about or interested in doing in the next year to connect us more with the high school?
Yeah, sure. So I feel that not many people even are aware of the Environmental Commission to begin with. I even heard about it just through a friend of a friend of a friend. It didn't really come about. So I feel like if people are more aware of kind of what the city is able to do and how they can help out, you'll be able to get more show out and more involvement from a younger audience. Just because if people don't know about it, how are they supposed to get there?
Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have more questions?
I
just
do.
want to
Of
make sure
course
you
I
look
do.
left.
You go.
Well, I just have some quick logistical type questions.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for your presentation. You flew through it, and I was trying to keep up with you, which I thought was pretty cool. You have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
What is your commitment schedule like on evenings and on weekends in terms of whether participation in meetings and events may conflict? Like, do you have swim meets? I mean, what do you foresee at least for the school year?
So as a competitive swimmer, I have practice in the morning and afternoon. So I practice before school twice a week, and then in the afternoon as well after school. I have two options for afternoon practice. So I'd either drive to Simi Valley from 4 to 5:30, or I'll be at Oaks Christian High School from 6:15 to 7:30. Or 6:15 to 7:45, and so on these
That's
days,
okay.
I'll just go to the Simi Valley practices. It's not a big deal.
So you have options.
I have options, and then for the weekends, I'm sure I can coordinate around it because I can choose which meets I need to go to based on qualifications and things like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just interested. And then I have one other really quick question, then
Yeah.
I'll bounce it back to David. So why, I hear what you're saying about why the Environmental Commission works for you. How did it come to your attention that a commissioner position might be something you'd want to do?
So actually, my friend that is unfortunately not able to be here today, we were discussing in terms of our ASBRC, the battery recycling, that this could be a great way for us to connect with the city and work with you guys as well to help, because we've been working mostly with schools, and we just started reaching out, and we started working with the senior center as well recently, and we feel that this would be a good way for us to help you guys and you guys to help us. So that's originally how it came up, and then we started looking into it deeper, and we realized that this would be a good position to run for, and it seemed fitting.
That's quite clever. Good for you. Okay, I'm done.
Last question I've got. By the way, Whitney spoke, and everybody should know that Whitney's son was one of our rock star student representatives. So Whitney can speak from personal experience about the value of that. Some of your interests. We've got dozens of things. You heard people talk about anticoagulant rodenticide and water conservation. And,
Yeah.
and what are some of your passionate issues?
So obviously recycling has been a big thing for me. Growing up, I used to have an old shoebox where, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but with old shoeboxes, they have like those little holes on the side. And so I'd put batteries in there, and then when that was full, I'd go and take it into the special place, and that's how I ended up doing this battery recycling thing with my colleague. I'm also big on beach cleanup and beach safety as a surfer. So I have gone to a couple beach cleanups where we just go around, pick up trash from the beaches, because that's some place I like to enjoy, and I know that others do as well. So that's something I'm definitely passionate about as well.
Any other questions? All right. Daniel, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Nevin.
Hey.
Are you going to introduce each member as they come up?
Sure. The next candidate is Navin Parmar.
Good evening, Commissioners. I still fondly remember standing on stage leading our Friday morning Bay Laurel Assembly, proudly wearing my green cape with my fellow Green Team members. We all felt like superheroes, especially in my 5-year-old mind. Our goal at that young age was to teach our peers how to recycle through lunchtime trash sorting lessons, hand-drawn posters, and brainstorming with our principal. For my 5th grade graduation, I decided to start the tradition of the graduating class planting a tree on campus. It was exciting to have Mayor David Shapiro help plant the first graduation tree. Later, as a middle schooler, participating in the Las Virgenes Water District field trip, I found it insightful to see the technology that helps supply clean water to our community. Just a year after, though, a sudden day off from school with the news of fires in the valley grew with the intensity of the Santa Ana winds. During that afternoon, sheriff sirens could be heard from across my neighborhood and were coming closer. I heard a knock on the door, and when I opened it, it was my neighbors standing there telling me that we had to evacuate. All I could pay attention to was the thick smell of smoke that was burning my nostrils. As we drove down Calabasas Parkway, I saw a giant plane fly overhead as it dropped flame retardant on the nearby hillside. It would be around 2 weeks before we were able to safely return home. In the aftermath, the Woolsey fire destroyed 67 LVUSD family homes and scorched over 21,000 acres of the beautiful Santa Monica Mountains. This destruction ignited in me a passion for the environment. Our community banded together to help those families, and I personally decided to get involved with Tree People Los Angeles and learn how we could replant what we had lost. A major step I decided to take to have a larger voice and impact was to join the Mayor's Youth Council in high school. 3 years later, I'm now the Environmental Committee leader and have assisted this commission in organizing Arbor Day, where we planted trees at Lupin Hill Elementary, as well as our community-wide Earth Day celebration. My committee was able to represent the voices of student environmentalists during that event. Last year, the drought was a huge concern of mine, as once again I saw its effects on Calabasas. I met with David Peterson at Las Virgenes Municipal Water District to see if our MYC Environmental Committee could assist in relaying information about drought solutions. I'm now excited about their new plans to open their new innovative pure water facility. In the last several months, an exciting opportunity arose when I was asked by Caruso's management team to meet with the new owner of La La Kind Cafe and learn about their sustainable practices. This propelled me to my current project of working with existing small businesses to improve sustainability and waste. When I get an opportunity as a high schooler to visit my old elementary school, I always take a second to find the tree that I planted so many years ago and see the growth that we've both had. I'm hoping to join this commission to have an even larger impact on the environmental and climate issues that our city faces. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Questions? You behave, lady.
If it was Joe Biden, people be
I know, you're clapping for all of them. You're great, you're great.
We're not allowed to clap.
Okay, I'm not.
So thank you for your presentation. You had a very calm, mature, powerful way of presenting what you've been doing. I liked hearing that it's like in your core, like you started from 5th grade and it's really been a part of who you are. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I think that you've spent a lot of your time doing really important things for the community and taking initiative to find out what you could do and value yourself as someone who's a change maker. And I see good things for your future. Thank you.
Navin, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Daniel before. We'll take turns. We've got a few questions. My question was, how do you envision yourself able to connect us and the Environmental Commission with activities at Calabasas High School or other local high schools?
So
Or other schools.
at Calabasas High School specifically, I'm on the board of the National Honor Society. So that's a pretty big club on our campus, and it has like over 100 members. So that's a really great place to make a connection to a large majority of the students. And additionally, I recently had talks for a club that I have at school to our new principal. So I have a pretty good relationship with him already. And then also I've like volunteered at different school events across our district. So, and I'm on the superintendent's youth council for our district. So I'm already working to connect with all the different schools. So I believe that I'd have a very easy job at trying to connect any ideas you guys have with the students at our schools.
Thank you. JC?
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I thought it was very well done. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask the same questions as well. You have a lot going on, and walk us through your evening commitments right now and your weekend commitments that may, cause you to not be able to participate either in one thing you love or another. So right now, obviously, we meet monthly, we meet quarterly, we could meet more often. We also have events. So what is your typical activity schedule like?
So the busiest activity that I'm involved with would be basketball, high school like varsity basketball. But luckily now with new scheduling and the new administration we have, all of our practices are during school. So my evenings have been freed up like quite a lot. Besides that, some clubs like Model United Nations and National Honor Society, I have like a couple hours a week, I'd say, of work for them. And then with the Mayor's Youth Council, when it comes to organizing events and reaching out to different organizations, that's probably another couple hours. But I normally have about like a couple hours of free time each day, even with like homework and things like that.
Okay, great. And then my second question is, you obviously have a lot going on, you have a lot of interests, and you've chosen to apply for the Environmental Commission as one of your options. I saw that. How did you come to learn about the commission, student position at the commission, and what was your true interest in doing that versus all the other things that you do?
So when I first joined the Mayor's Youth Council, I initially just joined it because I just wanted to get involved and learn a bit more about civic politics. And a friend of mine, Nicola Tarango, he was the initial environmental committee leader for the Youth Council. And so he kind of showed me like the different events that we were able to host, owl boxes, Arbor Day, Earth Day, different outreach to the schools. I found it pretty interesting. So then I ran for our environmental committee leader. And now that I am the committee leader, I thought, well, there's, as I said, Arbor Day, we were able to work with your commission, but I feel like things like Walk to School Day and things like that, those are things that our Mayor's Youth Council wasn't able to address. So when I found out that there's the student member for your environmental commission, I thought that was a great way to expand my role and increase the impact I could have.
Great. Excellent. Excellent answer. Thank you. I'm done.
I've got one more question. Sorry. What are some of your interests or passions? What can we look forward to you just there? And you don't have to do everything that we're doing, but which ones are you interested in with regard to environmental issues?
Okay, so I briefly mentioned the Caruso management team. So right now I'm working on a leftover food program with the local restaurants in the Commons to help donate any food, any leftover food any of the restaurants have to the West Valley Food Pantry. So that's one of my bigger projects right now. And additionally, I had an idea for a community garden because at Calabasas High School, we have old basketball courts outside that aren't used for anything right now and they're closed. So on the Superintendent's Youth Council, I pitched the idea of opening a community garden there where we could help grow food sustainably, use the new irrigation technology that we've developed, and we could have a community garden and connect the community while also donating food to local shelters and things like that.
Cool. Other questions? No? Knapp?
Thank you.
The third candidate was Eli Rubel, who texted me just a little while ago that he wasn't going to make the meeting. We do have his application. I believe he's still interested, but he's obviously not here to apply. I think he's taking a class at Pierce, and he said he couldn't miss that class. So next up is Noah Shapiro.
Can I start? Yes. Good evening. My name is Noah Shapiro, and I'm currently a senior at Calabasas High School. At CHS, I'm a part of the California Scholarship Federation, as well as a member of the National Honor Society. I'm the student body treasurer and secretary for Calabasas High School, and also play for my high school lacrosse team. In my free time, I enjoy going on bike rides, walks with my family, and spending time with my friends. I'm currently the president of Roots and Shoots at my school. Being a part of this club has solidified the fact that I'm a passionate leader about improving the impact we have on our environment. In this club, we have built owl boxes, done trash cleanups, and discussed different ways to make our community more environmentally aware. One program I implemented at Calabasas High was a mask recycling program. With the support from Roots and Shoots, I collected used masks at local temples and schools, and then these masks were recycled and made into materials that could be used to make owl homes. This has been quite successful as we have collected over 1,000 masks. Besides working on environmental projects, I'm passionate about my volunteer work. Every Sunday since I was 12, I have volunteered at West Hills Champions, a baseball league for kids with special needs. Working with my buddy has taught me compassion and patience. I'm also involved in Connecting with Teens, a local charity group where I've organized clothing drives where we collect hoodies in local communities and then distribute them among less privileged children. I'm also the president of the West Coast branch of SCOPE. SCOPE is a nonprofit that sends underprivileged children to summer camps. In addition to being the president of the local chapter, I serve on the National Junior Leadership Council for SCOPE. This past year, I was privileged to be the city's alternate student representative. I served with my role of being a liaison between the Environmental Commission and the high school, as well as attended events such as the Pumpkin Festival, Arbor Day tree planting event, the Earth Day Festival, and even the P22 Bridge Open questionnaire session. Beyond attending our quarterly meetings, I attended meetings with school administration in order to discuss plans of funding a hydration station with Roots and Shoots funds and other possible school initiatives with the future Measure S funds CHS is expected to receive. In addition, we sorted through all submissions for the water drawing contests and voted on the winners. Also, at the city's environmental forum, we were given the opportunity to sell succulents, which led us to raising hundreds of dollars for Calabasas Roots and Shoots. Through Roots and Shoots, we have had many opportunities to raise environmental awareness at the high school, as well as organize multiple trail cleanups throughout the year. Overall, I like to be involved in things that I am passionate about, including solving environmental problems through sustainability initiatives and civic engagement. I believe I do a good job of balancing my academic, athletic, and social life with my other commitments. I will collaborate with all of you to help spread the word about the great city programs to the students of CHS while continuing to promote the student involvement. I want to focus on encouraging the student body of CHS and ultimately want to get our message across to the younger schools across the district to continue to be environmentally cautious so that our city will continue to flourish. If we get the elementary and middle school age students excited about the environment now, they will be more willing and driven to work on environmental issues when they get older. I want to use a hands-on approach with the younger students, whether that means organizing weekend hikes with them or even going to their school and doing a fun activity outside. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I hope we will all get to work together as a part of the Environmental Commission.
Thank you, Noah. Any questions or comments? Whitney?
I would like to recognize you for being a young man who totally shows up.
Thank you.
I was incredibly impressed by you. You were at every event. You gave. You're a really spot on kid, and I just was so impressed with. As David said, over the years, we've seen a lot of commissioners, and you really proved yourself. And I think you're a tremendous, tremendous asset, and I really value all your contributions.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Noah, before I ask my question, I just want to say that Whitney's comments are even more impressive than you realize because her son was one of the most impressive kids we've ever had on the Environmental Commission. So, and her husband is a Carl Gibbs. I mean, it's in the blood. I'm going to ask my first question. Is that all right?
Yeah, same order.
And that is, how would you, going forward, how would you help us to connect with CHS and other Calabasas High School and other schools, local schools?
I think doing constant meetings with the administration is very valuable. I know, David, you were at a few with Lux and I think that's where we got a lot of the stuff done and created plans in order to raise the awareness for the environment. So I think, creating meetings with administration and even go higher and go with the leaders in the district office.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, I know you have been with us for a year, and I do know that you did have some lacrosse commitments last spring, I think it was. How is your schedule looking right now for evenings to make meetings and for potential weekends to participate in events?
Completely free. Lacrosse, we don't have a coach yet, so.
Lacrosse is what?
We don't have a coach yet for the season, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
completely free.
All right, well.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I've asked everyone the same question. I just want to make sure that everyone realizes that, you all have so much going on, and absorbing another commitment is a commitment.
Yeah.
Your question is slightly different. You currently are an alternate, and you have stepped up in every way to be a full-fledged commissioner. So responsibility-wise, I can already see that you can handle it. So I'm assuming that reapplying for this is so that you can actually end up being a full commissioner. Is that your true intention? If you were an alternate again, I mean, I guess it's a normal step for you, but I just want to make sure that I understand why specifically you've chosen to continue and not maybe pick something else or whatever.
Yeah, I think being an alternate student, representative member, I'd be perfectly fine with that because I just want to stay involved with the environmental commission and the environment overall, and just to keep working towards the goals.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have another question, one of my hardball questions.
All right.
What are some of your interests with regard to the environmental commission? What are some of the things you'd like to be involved in this year?
Definitely more beach cleanups because I just love the beach overall, love where we live. And then definitely the different creeks that are being cleaned up, and especially filled with last year's rain and all that. So I want to get more involved with the creeks too.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Noah, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a creek cleanup that's on the agenda today.
It's
Coming up.
it's had a lot of water, so it has a slightly different, need this year more than anything. Yeah, some of the debris has moved up higher. Stuff like that.
Hi, Gavin. Thank you for coming. And whenever you're ready,
Thank you for
Gavin
having
Tesser.
me. Roses are red, violets are blue. Climate change is destroying our planet. What can we do? Well, I have some ideas about this issue. But first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Gavin Tesser, and I am a sophomore at Calabasas High School. I am honored to apply for a position on the Environmental Commission and speak with you today. Ever since I was young, I have been deeply passionate about protecting the environment. This interest began when I was a student at Bay Laurel and won 2 recycling and 2 water poster contests. I have also attended many Arbor Day and Earth Day events. In addition, some of my volunteer and community efforts include raising $32,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, serving on the Superintendent's Youth Council, and teaching kids on Zoom how to draw animals while also teaching them about the environment. I am also a participant on my school's Motto United Nations Junior Travel Team. My countless hours of research have led me to create a small business called Fern Pert that specializes in creating eco-friendly pet tags. Here are some
Like, I love it. Okay. What are they? I don't have a pet, but I'll look at your tag. How cute is that?
This experience has shown me how to be an environmentally responsible citizen. I would be excited to be a liaison between this commission and high schools in our area to promote the commission's programs and activities. I also have some ideas to contribute. I call it the SAVE program, which stands for Sustainable Actions for a Vibrant Environment. Some ideas are the following. First, replacing plastic dog waste bags in the kiosks with biodegradable paper bags made out of recycled materials. Second, encouraging the use of electric cars by creating priority parking spots for them in both public and private parking lots. Third, partnering with LVMWD to add rain harvesting barrels to homes to repurpose the water for outdoor use. Fourth, building a community garden which will reduce food waste, water usage, and pesticide use, and will help people become more involved with the environment. Fifth, creating a weekly event called Carbon Car, which encourages Calabasas residents to walk and bike instead of driving on a certain day of the week. I hope to be given the opportunity to collaborate with you and bring my fresh perspective to the Environmental Commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Couple of quick, any? Start us off, Whitney.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm concerned about the planet, and so are you.
Nicely played.
I remember your reading reading it. Now here you are. Really well done.
Thank you.
Great presentation. You're clever, you're witty, you're fun, and your ideas are really well thought out. They're deeper than they were good ideas, really good ideas, and you're a doer. That's really super cool. I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
Gavin, I'm going to ask the first question. What are some of the ways that you would work to connect us and the Environmental Commission and the city with Calabasas High School and local schools?
Well, I would try to either make a club at school and kind of get members, and then I would suggest ideas and have them like brainstorm ideas with me. And I would also go around to high schools and maybe make seminars and present them to the students, because maybe that will create more involvement with people who might not want to join a club or something else.
Great, thank you. JC?
Welcome, Gavin, and thank you for your presentation. I appreciated it. Okay, you are a sophomore?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, your evening commitments in terms of other clubs that you're working with, you have time for participation in environmental commission meetings and potential weekend events?
Yeah, I definitely have time, and I can also move my schedule around because I'm very flexible. So if something doesn't work out, I'm sure there's something we can do.
Okay, fantastic. You did obviously talk a lot about environmental initiatives, and so it's kind of obvious why you chose the Environmental Commission as one of the commissions, or many commissions here in the city you could apply for. So just quick note about why you picked us specifically, and how did you hear about the open student commissioner position?
Well, I have always thought about this, and I want to dedicate my life to having a career where I can help the environment rather than like a desk job. So that's why I'm really interested in helping the environment, and that's why I want to start now in high school. And I heard about the commission from David Cohen, who was working with my mom on a school project, I believe.
Okay, that's it for my questions.
Thank you.
Wait, I've got one more. Quick question for you. Environmental Commission is involved in dozens and dozens of items. I know we've chatted about a few. What are some of your passions? What are some of the things that you can't be involved in everything. We've got over a dozen different subcommittees. What are some of the ones that we're most passionate for you?
I would say I'm interested in advocacy probably the most, because I've done a lot of research about climate change, and I feel like I have a lot to say about it. And I just like spreading the word to people, and it makes me happy.
Great. Gavin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I will be giving my resume to 4 young gentlemen. I miss the years when there were applicants who were not qualified. So, ladies, I am encouraging you to vote for 2. Like I said, if this is, and like I said at the beginning, all four of these kids are amazing. So feel free to, we'll pass them track. Will you do the collection of the ballots?
And they're anonymous ballots without names on them, correct?
No, do not put your name on them, correct,
just
please.
Getting it on the record.
Thank you. You want to take it home with you? And
I'll move over here so you don't feel pressure.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Melina, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to take a quick intermission after the student part, and truly appreciate your being here and your patience tonight.
I love to support these students. They're our future.
Yeah.
Each of these guys are awesome.
Right.
Get in the water. I had to vote for 2.
Yeah. One of the things I just said to Phil was maybe we ought to consider expanding the number of alternate students. Like, we've had years that we've not had such quality applications, but, I mean, the task force worked really to, and I mean, they,
Why not
Yeah.
why not have a subcommittee that is completely made up of students and they have their own sort of agenda
that's a great
track
idea. I mean, we should talk to,
versus being a
whoever the
sitting
2
commission.
students are, we probably
You
should,
make it like it's like almost like a standalone
Yeah.
school liaison.
Phil said we can't, it's not agendized.
I'm not the chair.
We're gonna be meeting again. We're gonna be meeting again.
You can't try and change your process. That had not been noticed. So if there is some
But look,
direction you'd like to give us,
ultimately, we'll pick 2.
we'll
If the
research it
kids
and
we
come
don't
back.
pick, we'll certainly reach out and say, here's opportunities to get involved with us.
Mhm.
I mean, we all feel the same.
I don't know what to do. I'm really torn.
Don't write in Elijah Schwartz. Whatever you want to, whatever, but we should get on with the meeting.
okay.
Sorry.
It helps to feel that we could be, there's other programs, there's other things those kids need.
Well- Absolutely support that. This is, I've met with these kids, and that's part of why I did spend as much time as I have with them, is because they are rock stars. I mean, you can see it. There's no bad choice, guys. And quite honestly, the one that didn't show
David.
is a great kid.
That was really tough. I'm just sad. Mm.
Phil, I believe that, for someone to win, or to be elected, they need to have 3 votes out of the 4, since there are 4 of us? Is that correct, mathematically? Or if is it,
It's majority
could
of the
have
vote.
2.
It's a majority of the vote, isn't it?
so if
You
it's
could have, somebody could have 2 and
2-1-1?
1-1.
Okay.
And then what happens? It's 2-1-1.
If one of the boys gets 2 votes and 2 of the boys get 1 vote, then the kid with 2 would have enough to be elected.
Right, like they don't need 3.
You don't need 3. So that was my question. Do they need 3? With Beth, we need 3, I think.
Well, it has to, is it a
Sorry,
majority
sorry.
or is it not a majority? That is the question.
Since there
Either
are four-
way, it doesn't matter. We have 2 individuals who got 3 votes, and
Oh.
so we will do a quick runoff ballot to determine the student member and the alternate student member. Those 2 are Navin and Noah. So now
Okay.
we will choose your top between Navin and Noah.
So do me a favor, can you pass out another piece of paper and we'll just,
They're coming.
So the two that were chosen were Navin and Noah. They both got 3. So they will be the 2 student reps. We now have to decide who will be the rep and who will be the alternate
Of the 2 boys?
of the 2. Right.
What? Full-fledged or alternate? You. No, I think that one always has to attend, I don't know.
I believe one, when they vote,
Right,
would have the vote. The alternate would step in if that person wasn't there.
if there's a a reason for a commissioner to vote along with. I think it's when they vote for the calendar contest. I'm just repeating the rules. I didn't set them.
Are you guys ready? And we have our student member Noah and our alternate Navin. Do we want to bring them in and tell them now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Because I know
Thank
that
you,
there was
Treya.
debate on that.
Thank you.
That's really interesting. A voting gun. Can a math person figure it out?
Well, I'm glad that Beth's absence wasn't an issue. That's a nice thing. First of all, I want to thank all 4 of you once again, and just let you know that this was a very, very difficult decision for all of us. One of the things we discussed was that, again, I said from the beginning,
Stay there.
yeah, just wait until we announce the election. One of the things that we discussed, just so you know, obviously, like I said in the beginning, 2 of you are elected, 2 of you are not. I just want to say that one of the things we discussed was expanding opportunities. So even if you were not elected, you are likely going to hear back from us. We can't do it at this meeting because it wasn't agendized, but we are going to be having follow-up conversations about how to involve all 4 of you this year. So you will be involved somehow with our commission. With that said, I am pleased to announce that this year's environmental student representative is Noah Shapiro, and the alternate is Navin Parmar. So thank you both. And since you were supposed to be this election was supposed to happen in May, technically you are now officially on the environmental commission. Daniel and Gavin, like I said before, you will both be hearing from me personally, as well as from all of us. And this election was an election, but not one that any of us wanted to make. So thank you for being here, and thank you for everything you're doing. You guys are very impressive. Do any of the other commissioners want to make a comment? Or
I did.
please.
I wanted to, Daniel, I think you and your friend Eli could just be really tremendous without this title, without this chair. I think the 2 of you have done something so incredible for the community. And I know personally that I'm going to try to make an effort for you 2 to be recognized because your contribution is massive. So I really, really appreciate it.
I just want to say I worked with a couple of you guys on Earth Day stuff. You helped me out tremendously. I'm new to this, but all of you made this really difficult, just so you know. And so I just share their sentiments, okay? There's got to be a place for y'all right here up front of what's going on right now. So just hang in there, and we will work with you best we can. Really proud of all of you. Makes a difference, okay? Thanks, that's it.
I just want to say you're all equally impressive young men, and I appreciate that. But I will tell you one thing. It takes guts to put yourself out there. And that is the accomplishment this evening, that you stood up here, you owned your importance, you owned your interests, and you showed us. And so I thank you, and I'm sure we will be seeing you cross our paths many times. So thank you to the two that didn't make it. And the other two, welcome.
With that said, we're going to take a 10-minute
Mr.
recess.
Chairman,
One
one comment from staff. Gentlemen, you are all impressive. I'm relatively new to Calabasas, but I'm not to the public service. I've worked for 35 years. I don't know that I've seen 4 young students present themselves the way you did, and that's impressive in itself. But you should all be proud that you come with a pedigree. You've already done things. You've already proved that this is important to you. Don't lose that fire. Don't lose that fire. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Phil.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Treya, for your help. Everybody, we're going to take a 10-minute recess, and we'll be back on air in 10 minutes. Thank you. Right now, it is 8:13. We will begin at 8:25 promptly. Thank you. All right, we are back. Thank you, everyone who is here, and thank you, student members. Thank you for waiting 4 months to finally take your seats. We welcome you both and look forward to your service. We're going to move on to the next order of business, which is the invitation for all of us to listen to a presentation from Melina Watts on the Las Virgenes Creek tours at the Pumpkin Festival. Please enlighten us.
So first of all, I timed this at 6 minutes, 20 seconds, so I hope you guys can bear with me. So I am with the Safe Clean Water Program with Los Angeles County. And, okay, it's not letting me click. And I want to talk to you about how we can do a little tour of Las Virgenes Creek at the Pumpkin Festival to get money into our community that we need. Okay. Measure W is what funds Safe Clean Water Program, and it provides local dedicated funding to increase our local water supply, improve water quality, and protect public health. So before I get into my talk, first things first, I want to thank all of you for serving Calabasas. I love it that you have an environmental commission, and I think you should clone yourselves in Agora Hills, Westlake, and Malibu, and I think Topanga probably has it covered. But the other cities need you guys, and they also need student representation like you have here. I was so inspired by your talks, you guys. Awesome. Okay, so sad news, Larry Walker and Associates, which is an environmental firm, was the technical advisory team that got paid, good Lord save us, $300,000 by Safe Clean Water Program to conduct an analysis to see if we could do the Las Virgenes Creek Restoration Phase 3. And the answer, after spending $270,000, was essentially no, Safe Clean Water Program won't fund this project. But dry your tears. The Wildlife Conservation Board has unbelievable amounts of money right now, approximately hundreds of millions of dollars. And what I have been told when talking to them, y'all, is that they have lots of projects for Northern California and not so many projects for Southern California, which puts us in a sweet position. Additionally, Senator Fran Pavley is on the board of the Wildlife Conservation Board, which chooses which projects go forward. So Tanya Holden and Treya Bezdesny and yours truly have written a letter of intent for this Wildlife Conservation Board to pay, we hope, $600,000 for a study to see if we can do the Las Virgenes Creek Fish Passage Project. Notice the name change. We'll get back to that. So if they like it and they fund it and we do a study that's successful, they have already said we would be very interested in funding implementation. So we may be on the path to doing phase 3 of the Las Virgenes Creek Restoration Project that's taken the city decades to get to the happy ending. So the most important thing that we could do is we could share the story of this creek restoration idea at the there's a typo, it's repeating, at the Pumpkin Festival. And the reason is they give money to you if they feel like your community cares. So what we want to do is share the story and get people to sign up and go, yes. So who's the star of this story, of this Las Virgenes Creek Restoration Phase 3? Obviously, your historic city council that created the idea is, but they're kind of like the director, producer, writer. The real star of the story is the Southern Steelhead Trout. Now, for those of you who are savvy about Las Virgenes Creek up in Calabasas, you're like, I've never seen a Southern Steelhead Trout. And that is true. because we have multiple fish migration barriers between us and where they live down in Malibu Creek above the lagoon. So the reason southern steelhead trout are important is the southern steelhead trout are endangered and they can take more temperature variance. Their babies will survive in hot water compared to northern steelhead trout. So we could lose all of the northern steelhead trout in a single summer if it gets too hot, but we'll still have ours. So ours could be the future of the whole species. So there's a map of the Malibu Creek watershed. You could see City of Calabasas up at the top. And if you trace the Las Virgenes Creek down to the bottom where the ocean is, that's where the creek, the fish could historically come up and down that and all throughout the entire watershed. But there's a little problem there. Okay, wait, I'll go back. If you go halfway, like an inch up from the bottom of the map, there's something called Ringe Dam, which is 109 feet tall, that completely blocks our southern steelhead trout coming from the ocean up into Calabasas. So there's a look at Malibu Lagoon where the fish come and go from the ocean. So Ringe Dam, here's a picture of it. It's 109 feet tall. It was built in 1929. It's been silted up 100% since 1951. So basically behind that big wall, that dam, it's all sand, all rock, all the way down. Once upon a time, when it wasn't there, that was beautiful flowing creek. So California Department of State Parks owns Ringe Dam, and they own a bunch of land that has a bunch of fish migration barriers on it, and they have a plan to take out Ringe Dam and remove 8 fish migration barriers between Ringe Dam and Calabasas. So the last dam that they have to take down is just below De Anza Park. In other words, we're next. So there's a quick look at Ringe Dam and the area that they would take out behind it. I want to point out, for those of you who are beachy people, that the rock and sand behind it has the potential to be beach replenishment, which is really important in an era of sea level rise. So can we change course? Can Calabasas soft bottom the next 1.5 miles of upstream fish habitat from Lost Hills all the way up to the Starbucks at Agora Road? We don't know. We think it's possible. So the way that we would do that is get this $600,000 study to see if it's possible. And Wildlife Conservation Board is there to create habitat for other species besides us. So the fact that we're talking about it as a fish passage project and not just a restoration project is critical to getting the money into the city. So what does southern steelhead trout need? The first thing is those cement hard bottom creeks that you see like in a storm drain where the water's running down are a nightmare for fish because the fish come in from the ocean and they're jumping from rock to rock and over trees and hiding behind the trees and trying to get up to where they're going to have babies. And when it's cement and it's flat, it goes a bazillion miles an hour compared to what it should go. They can't get up. Also, they can't create little redds to park their babies and their eggs. So it's a nightmare. The other thing they need is fish-friendly native plants on the side of the creek to provide shade. They need a bunch of macroinvertebrates, which are bugs for them to eat. And here's the thing that scientists are just realizing. They need a happy hyporheic zone. The hyporheic zone, you guys, here's the creek, right? The dirt underneath the creek has tiny living things in it, just like the soil does. And those are the food for the macroinvertebrates, which are the food for the fish. So what we would hope to do would be to take hyporheic zone from way upstream in the upper Las Virgenes area and put it into our fish project down here to restore the whole system. And those guys can give you safe, clean water because they take out 70% of the bad stuff from the water. It's remarkable. So perspectives for the tour, we'll give people a little history lesson that in 1977, that was when we filled Las Virgenes Creek with cement. And in 2003, the Calabasas Creek Restoration Plan was published, and we've just been digging ahead inch by inch for this. So the city staff will give us the story of what we intend to do, hopefully, with this project at the Calabasas Pumpkin Festival. And then here's the magic part. When we finish our little tour with our guests, we will invite them to give us public comment, and if they want to sign up that they support this, then that becomes a critical part of this application to Wildlife Conservation Board, and we all live happily ever after. That's my talk. So I'm open for questions, and I appreciate you guys being open to expanding your vision from the Las Virgenes Creek Restoration Phase 3 to the Las Virgenes Creek Fish Passage Project. And any questions you have, I'll be there, and Trey will be there at the Pumpkin Festival, and we'll schedule tours, probably 4 over the course of the day, and anybody can sign up. And if you guys want to co-volunteer to lead these tours with us, we're always inviting you.
Melina, I just want to start off by saying that this is one of the reasons why you won the Carl Gibbs Award from this body. It's
Oh,
because
thank
you speak so well and you represent our community so well. So thank you.
Thank you. I
any
used to live in
questions or-
Calabasas, so I feel like it's my town.
Oh, yeah. In the interest of time, though, be mindful, it is 8:30 already. Everybody.
Why didn't it make the third phase? You said the
The
beginning?
Safe Clean Water Program, I might let you answer this, but my understanding was that it wasn't going to create enough water supply, and it didn't address, they didn't think it was going to address water quality problems enough. So they're like, you're not going to score high enough, but Safe Clean Water Program is really hard to score points on. But this other grant we're applying for is kind of a more back and forth conversational process, and if they feel like it's environmentally meaningful and you get in, you're highly likely to be funded.
And
Excuse me?
also, I'm just curious, like, we don't have that much rain. I mean, I know we have had more rain of
So-
recent, but enough water for the creek to be bringing fish up.
So the southern steelhead trout are kind of magical creatures, first of all. They have their children, right? And they grow up to a certain point and they head out to the ocean and they get gigantic and then they come back. And unlike salmon, which kick the bucket after they have kids, they go back 2 or 3 or 4 times and they're not site specific. So we could have Topanga southern steelhead trout or Santa Barbara steelhead trout come and go up our creek depending on when the fish perceive that it's the right season. So they smell it when it's rainy. They smell it when it's got the right kind of sediments coming out, and then they make the call time to go in. So they're kind of tracking our creeks of when it's high flow, and that's when they breed. And they come to a certain point of maturity and they come out. So one of the things that's really interesting about our creeks is it had higher amounts of water in the late 19th century than we currently understand it to have. Before Las Virgenes Municipal Water District was installed and we started having imported drinking water, there were tons of wells throughout Calabasas and other areas. So we were basically sucking the groundwater out. So we were forcing the creek to be drier. So there was a period from like 1890 to like 1950 when it looked like it was more seasonal than it actually is. So I guess what I'm saying is there's more flow there than you think there is, right? And there's more groundwater, particularly up at the upper Las Virgenes Canyon open space preserve that does trickle in year-round than you think there is. Finally, in years where it is severe drought, Las Virgenes is obligated by the Department of Fish and Wildlife to release water into the lower Malibu Creek to sustain flow for southern steelhead trout because there are endangered species. The last estimate that there was 500 fish between Santa Barbara and the Mexican border. We temporarily have extirpated them in Malibu Creek. There aren't any right now. When I was participating in creek assessments 20 years ago, there were 80 to 200 fish every year. And now there's 0. But there's still 80 to 100 fish in Topanga. So they'll come back if we give them a place to live. So Las Virgenes will dump fresh treated water into the creek under duress if need be, because this is such a critical species.
Got it.
That's a long answer, I'm sorry.
No.
Melina, thank you. Are there other quick questions? You know what would be helpful for me? I love the lesson, the science lesson, but it would be great if there are things we can do to help. So if maybe you can send that to us via email, just in the interest of time, because we still have staff reports and commission,
Sorry.
But I would love to know how we can all help you more. You've got some very good students here. You've got we're happy to spread the word and get back to our city council members as well.
I would love letters of support for this grant application. We want them to feel like the entire city is lined up behind this so that they'll be like, yes.
So we write the letter, or is there like a copied letter that we could just download?
Treya and I could get you a letter. We'll create a letter.
So if you
for
guys even just had that at your,
Does it have to
boots
be?
and shoots, whatever, just sign here.
Oh,
everybody
wait,
sign
my
here.
turn.
Get piles of papers, right?
Yeah,
Students sign.
go ahead. JC?
Okay, so on that note, requirements for the letter, Calabasas citizen, voter, anybody?
Anybody. Like, diversity is good. I think obviously elected officials and your commission members have status because they understand that you represent the larger community.
Okay.
But students or visitors or, community members are all relevant. And I think a diversity of enthusiasm is super meaningful.
Okay, and due date for the letters?
Basically, it's a rolling admission, so it gets turned in when Tatana and
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
It's rolling admission.
Oh, it's rolling,
So it
okay.
gets turned in when we conclude that we're ready to
Okay,
turn
so
it
there's
in.
no due date in particular, but
I'm
it's rolling, okay.
planning, I think we're planning on turning it in like the weeks after the Pumpkin Festival, when we have whatever public mass that we can. And just so you know, the process is a letter of intent. If staff says yes, then you do this giant 30-page grant. I've already done that for the overpass, and we got $1 million from that one. And from what I've seen politically, they always are inclined to say yes if to the big application if you've succeeded with the small application.
Okay, one more very quick question on the program. The Fish Passage project is specifically for the study. That's what you're calling to get the study done. The grant is for the Fish Passage project, which is for us to get a study to say whether it's a viable environment for the fish.
And it's a two-phase thing that I'm seeing, that we get the $600,000 for the study, and if the study's good, and if flood control says go for it, and you guys say go for it, then we apply again on behalf of the city, and the city gets 2.9 million, or whatever the number is, I think that's it, to actually do the project. And
Okay.
you guys, it's 1.5 miles of fish habitat. It's priceless.
So what I'm going to ask, in the interest of time again, is if you
Sorry.
wouldn't mind, no, you're wonderful. If you wouldn't mind, maybe through Treya, is keep us posted. If you want us to vote on something so that we send something to City Council, if it would help you to have our voice behind you, if it would,
Sure, that'd be
if
great.
there's action you would like us to take, let us know that. But in the,
Is that today, or is that next
Not
meeting?
today.
Next meeting? I mean, I
well,
don't understand the structure. I would love to have your support, however you want to create that, but I don't know the rules.
I don't know. Can we make a motion to support
Mr. Chairman,
this?
we can draft a letter for your signature, and it can come from you without a vote. For hearing the comments, I assume everybody's in favor of it.
Does everybody support the commission? Is there any objection or any issues with our commission of supporting Melina and team's efforts, Treya's efforts? No. All right, so
I'd
we'll
just
work
like to
together.
say one more thing.
Please.
Years ago, I wasn't even on the commission, but the city was talking about creating parking spots for electric cars, and it was such a random thing to discuss. And this is so relevant. These are all just relevant things. I find this really inspiring, and I think it's really cool because one day this is going to happen, and these boys are going to be like young parents, and it's going to be a stream, a creek, a river, and it's because of you and because of us. And to me, this is really so much more exciting than some of the other things. This is real. This is real.
I'll
I am
share
so
with
grateful
you,
for you.
I'll share with you a tiny personal story. I got to do swim
Quickly,
team.
quickly,
It's okay,
quickly.
it's quick. I saw a steelhead trout, and they're very stuck on their little spots. And I'm 5'6", 130 pounds at this point in my life. And this fish that's this big got in my face and backed me down the creek because I was in his face. And that amount of sass and fire, those guys deserve to live.
Yeah.
It was
Let us
delightful.
know what we can do to help.
Okay,
Feel
thank
free
you.
to come back and through Treya communicate with us, and like I say, whatever we can do to support.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next order of business is a report from staff on city activities and projects.
Good evening, Commissioners. I will be presenting on our current and future city activities and projects very quickly. So to start off with, citywide Green Street Phase
Wait, don't go too
1.
quickly, actually. What the city's doing is important for us to hear.
Okay. Sorry. So to start off with, Phase 1 of the Green Street project consists of a bioswale, 100 new parking spots, and a trail connecting to the Las Virgenes open space at the northern terminus of Las Virgenes Road. This project is set to begin construction on September. This one is not updated. Not next Monday, but the Monday after, the 15th, 18th. I don't have a calendar in front of me. It is 18th, September 18th. Phase 2 of the project will consist of a vegetated swale on Calabasas Road across from the auto dealerships and new medians on Moreau Road east of Las Virgenes Road, and phase 2 is awaiting future funding. We just had a very in-depth discussion about some public outreach for the Las Virgenes Creek Restoration Phase 3 project. So it is kind of being transformed into a fish passage project, and the idea is to naturalize our concrete channels, so soft bottom out if we can't get rid of the walls. We also want to replace sediment. We want to replace it with sediment, trees, plant life, remove all of the algae, all of the fish barriers, anything creating any stagnant water, remove the invasive species, and improve trail connections to the Don Wallace Trail at the north, and then build a new trail on the east side of the creek. Melina talked about we're doing some public outreach in order to get funding for this project because we will require funding for design and construction. So we will be doing short little tours, myself and Melina, and whoever wants to join us, and we will be providing more information on how Commission and the public can help in our efforts. Some other things that we have been doing is in June, Council approved the Calabasas Zero Emission Bus Rollout Plan. This plan was required by the California Air Resources Board for all transit agencies and will act as a blueprint as the city looks to purchase new transit vehicles in the future. Another exciting activity, in February, staff stopped running our fixed route Saturday trolley service in order to provide a pilot microtransit program on Saturdays and Sundays from 9 to 5. So microtransit is designed to be kind of a balance between flexible rideshare and public transit, acting as a first last mile option for transit riders. In August, staff returned to council with options for expansion. Council agreed that it should be expanded, and staff is now working on a community survey to see how it should be expanded. And finally, the Calabasas Climate Action Plan is currently on hold. Staff is waiting on next steps from our consultant, Dean Kubani, after reviewing requests for proposals for a company to create the plan. Commissioners will be alerted when staff begin working on this item again. So we started with the Sustainability Task Force, hired a consultant to present options to council. Council decided on an option to go with, and we're awaiting further steps. Funding for city activities and projects comes from multiple sources, and staff is continually researching new funding opportunities for upcoming projects. And finally, this is just an informational item. Do you guys have any questions? I know I still went through it kind of fast, Chair.
Go ahead, JC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know about a few of these things, but I actually am more interested in. So for the bus rollout plan and for the, I'm trying to go back so I can see the name of the short-term, the microtransit. What is the outreach program for the community so that they're aware of this? Is it in the Parks and Recs booklet? Any of that, so that people are aware and that they have this alternative?
Currently, no. So that is one of the things that council wants us to do is to begin with, we wanted to kind of do a slow rollout because we don't have a mobile app, we don't have a software for our service provider, and so kind of get their feet wet, figure out what's the best way to go about it. Now, starting this month, we will start posting about it more. We'll put it in the newspaper. We will really reach out to the senior center, to people who could really utilize this program.
Okay, so we have the vehicles and we have the drivers. Now we need a program to roll it out to the public.
We have already been doing it on the weekends. Now we want to look at expanding it to an all everyday service.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was looking to find out. Thank you.
Perfect.
Other questions? No. Thank you very much, Treya. Appreciate the presentation. And let's move right into subcommittee reports. I do want to just point out, especially for the student members, that you'll notice that we just had a couple of different PowerPoint presentations and those slide presentations. Those are really helpful for us. We've got the screens, and it makes it something because we don't study this stuff. We don't study creeks all the time. So it's really interesting, and it's helpful for us. So if you guys are making presentations to us, giving us reports, it's helpful as well. So keep that in mind. Let's move right into subcommittee reports, starting with the Pumpkin Festival. And for Pumpkin, we've got JC and Larissa. Larissa.
Okay, yeah, we, thank you. We're first. How about that?
The most important.
Absolutely most important. So the Pumpkin Festival is coming up as the next major next major event on our agenda. And we have met twice with Treya, Phil, Tatiana. We actually met with Melina one time as well to try and accomplish a presence at the Pumpkin Festival that will not run out of steam, which is something that we have run into because of the extreme amount of participation, meaning a simple youth activity or something like that. So what we have determined we're going to do is come up with a way in which to engage the community on existing programs in the city, whether it would be through a quiz, through a poll, you get a giveaway if you do that. And one of the things, and the reason why I asked the question about the Fish Passage Project, don't say that too fast, is because that can be another one of those things that we could talk about, which is, hey, is this a point of interest? Because in addition to the things that we already do, and Larissa has already developed an entire list of them. But anyway, so we're going to do that, and it's going to be sustainable from the time we open to the time we close. And we will be working on the details until then. So I will say what I always say at the end of our things that I do for events. I'm looking for everybody to participate. That means to be on site for some certain amount of time. So I get, I will be asking, so be ready. And I'll make sure Beth knows that too. And then I'm going to let Larissa let us know any more on what we're going to do that day.
Okay, we talked about a little contest of sorts.
Fix your mic.
We talked about a contest of sorts.
Right.
And contest is the wrong word.
Quiz.
A quiz or not even a survey. Little pieces of paper or flags that people could place on. Let's say I have a board that says there's 6 environmental issues that are right in front of us that we're either working with or we're attempting to. People could put, if you're a local, tell us what you think is a priority for you, or tell us which one you'd like to see happen first, or because it has to be a little bit closed-ended because we don't want people to write a whole paragraph. Even though I'd love that, we want it to be something where they can get engaged, and really, there's going to be a lot of non-locals that are there too. That's going to be the only issue, is that for people coming here, they see this place. What do you think are the biggest issues we face in trying to protect this environment, or be land stewards, or be sustainable and think ahead, and those kind of things. So engaging people, engaging kids seems to be easy, and the young people, the young adults, that seems to be, they're aware, they want to be involved. And I think the battery jug that I'm going to put on the table, thanks to all of y'all, with a little clear jug and a few batteries in it, the conversations we had were endless. And so that's a way in, and that's something that the city's done a pretty good job of, thanks to you guys starting that ball rolling. So,
And let me add to that, not only will we be inquiring as to what people might find as their priority, but then being able to inform them of something that's actually happening in the city on that front, because a lot of people are not as don't have as much participation time. Some of them don't know all the programs, so if they're like, oh, I want more places to charge my electric car. Well, did you know that we have these locations around the city? Or, and then people they're engaged in what they think is a priority, and then all of a sudden they see that their community is as well. So we're going to keep it community oriented. That's our key. Of course, if somebody from Agora or Westlake or Malibu or, wherever wants to learn something about us, great. They can take it home with them and maybe do it with their own people. So that's the point.
That's what I'd like to ask, maybe, and we could talk about it sometime. The students getting involved. We were talking about that. The young people being involved, whether it's probably these guys, because they're on our commission, let's say. But to be able to talk to other young people that are coming from Los Angeles or inner city, or maybe even farther than that come and want to start a program at their school. What better examples, you guys? And, on a ground level, you could maybe give them here's how I started it, here's what I did.
Right. Well, the Mayor's Youth Council is going to be nearby. Right.
Yeah,
But no, I was going to say is the Mayor's Youth Council is going to be
In our section.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're
so
right
we are
next to
being
us.
sectioned.
Right next to us, the whole
Right,
time.
along with a few others. I don't have all the details yet. I do want to say one other thing, and this started with Whitney probably a year ago. We are going to not be giving out pamphlets. We are going to create posters with QR codes where somebody can scan the QR code and then pick up the PDF, and then they can have the information. The Environmental Commission will no longer be giving out pamphlets if we don't have to. Obviously, if it's something we don't have. To be more environmentally conscious. And most people, don't spend a lot of time with pamphlets, but maybe if they kept it saved on their phones, they'd look at it again. So, yeah. But this is very much in development, and we will be working on this up until, the time in a month from now when we do the festival. That's it from us. Any
Excellent.
questions? Anybody else?
Questions for the
You
pumpkin?
already ready for your schedule? 'Cause we'll
Yeah,
work on
really.
it.
No questions.
You'll be hearing from
Just
me on
start
that.
signing everybody up.
That's it. Okay.
The next subcommittee is the recycling drawing calendar, which is me and Whitney. Okay, and I will just say that the latest on that, I have some notes here. Oh, the theme that we all chose last year, at the conclusion of last year's, was Know Your Bins. So, so the staff have to, we will work with city on next steps to plan the logistics of timing, and so just let me and Whitney know when we can hit the ground running with that subcommittee, please. I mean, it's, so again, just for a quick reminder, the theme has to be something related to recycling because it's sponsored by,
Yeah, but you're recycling when you put the stuff in the bins.
but we can't, like, in past years, we've talked about doing water, or we've talked about doing other issues, but it's not sponsored by the water district, it's sponsored by
It has to be a recycling-oriented theme.
theme.
Yeah, however you do it, recycle has to be included.
So Know Your Bins was a topic that I guess the group came up with 6 months ago, 9 months ago. So we will all stand by. You will be getting information soon because the schools should be getting those so they can start working on them. Right? Do we have any updates from staff on that? Or?
Yes, so October 20th is the due date. The schools have received the first notice. I'll be sending the next notice tomorrow, informing them of the rules, the guidelines, and any assistance that can be given. We have some kindergarten kids who might not understand the Know Your Bin, so finding age-appropriate ways of explaining it to them so they can create a successful drawing. I will be reaching out to our subcommittee, and then we will have a special meeting at the beginning of November to decide the finalists.
Perfect. Will you do me a favor and send that, whatever you're sending to the schools, send it to all of us, especially me and Whitney, so we're in the loop on that one. Any other thoughts?
Do you know that November date?
No, that is pending everyone's schedules.
The first Tuesday is November the 7th. That would be our special meeting. Is that what you're talking about?
Potentially, if that works with everyone's schedules. I was going to set that up.
No, I'm just saying that we had done it last year's first Tuesday in November.
I'm just not here, so wanted to I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll be in touch about that, and we'll look for the email with more information. Thank you. Next order of business is item C, Student Commission Task Force did a fantastic job. Next order of business is,
Well done.
yeah, thank you, is D. That is Annual Environmental Forum. The proposed topic for this year,
There's one.
yeah, we actually talked a little bit about this. The thing we were talking about this year was promoting what's going on locally and giving the city credit for the achievements. So it was something along the lines of in and around environmental initiatives in and around Calabasas. So the panel would include salient local topics, including number one, connecting the trails. The Las Virgenes Creek Phase 3 by Deanza Park. There's 2 trails and they're not connected. So that's one thing the city is working on and people don't know about it. Number 2, the Ringe Dam, which I have always spelled Ridge. So Thank you. There's an N missing in every email I've ever sent. Wildlife crossing, the Headlands Corner, Old Town renovations, collaboration efforts in our community with MRT and tree people, local schools, etc. Plans for climate action, which unfortunately we just found out is on hold. But if there's any other initiatives, like exactly what you're talking about, the micro buses or micro transportation, I think just using the forum as an avenue of sharing all of this with the community, exactly what JC's talking and Larissa are talking about doing with the Pumpkin Festival, helping us to get the word out, because right now we're talking to an audience of my wife. So
We do have our TV fans at home, though, just so you
yeah,
know.
and all of everybody at home, exactly. Any other?
So, David, can you?
There's one more committee, is that what you're saying?
No. With any of the questions?
Well, I was just going to say, we need to put a, sort of a schedule around how to take that to the next step. So would that be something you would want to add into the special meeting that we would do, or get it to December, or how do you?
What I guess I would
mean, you have a lot of
how about this? I would
ideas.
like a vote. I'd like a vote in support of that being the topic, so that at least some action can be taken between now and February.
The theme.
The
So
theme.
that'd be the theme, okay.
So again, the theme is environmental initiatives in and around Calabasas. This would involve obviously members of staff, but it would also involve, like if it's the overpass, that we would get the gentleman that gave us that cool tour.
Yeah, that was cool.
Melina talking about potentially about the creek, or whatever experts there are in the community, but kind of tooting our community, our local community's horn. So that's I'm going to make a motion for that we accept that. And again,
I still have a comment.
Please.
Before we do that.
or no, you know what? Let's get a second and then we have discussion.
Okay, because I don't want to agree with it as it's written, because I'm afraid that that's beyond what I think.
So wait. Let's
I
get a
just-
second. We don't need to have a discussion
No,
if there's
I just,
nobody else that
but
supports it.
I can't. Okay,
No, you
go ahead
can't
and second
discuss.
it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Will you do me a favor and
I
just
can't agree
second
with
it?
it.
Since, or if there's no second, we don't even have to deal with
Okay,
it.
go ahead. Me? Yeah.
Somebody should second it, so we can.
I second it.
Okay, thank you. Now discussion.
Okay, fine. I think it needs to be centered on Calabasas to start with, because it is too broad, and it won't give us enough. Three subjects were perfect, and so I think if we can't find 3 Calabasas subjects, then I
So
would say.
the theme was environmental initiatives in and around Calabasas. And the
Right.
reason that we added the word around is because we didn't want to quibble about whether the wildlife crossing is Calabasas or Agoura.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is
I mean, it's something everybody's taking credit for. Like if you go on the news, it says it's Calabasas.
I know.
Some
There-
places it
there-
says
yeah, I know.
it's right on the
Anyway, I'm
border.
just saying that I think we need to really consider how to
All right, so
keep this
Yeah.
accessible to somebody sitting out in an audience. That's all. But we don't have to talk about it now. It's too broad right now. I just feel like it is.
the topic,
The amount of potential topics in there when you say in and around,
Yeah.
I would rather see it focused on things that we're doing here in the city of Calabasas, specifically. The creek, right,
I mean-
that's all I'm
Yeah.
saying is, the title was throwing me, that's all.
okay, Larissa.
Based on the last form, I think that's a lot. That's a lot to try to pull in there. And the tree thing, I would like to see more tree thing, because that's a kind of an easy thing over around the side. These are all
What do you
great
mean by
things.
that? I don't understand what you mean by tree thing.
Well, these are great. There's just too much there for the form. For one form, am I looking at it wrong?
So for instance, this was just a list of potential things.
Okay,
The
topics that we all-
subcommittee did not decide that we're talking about all this. As you see, one of the things on here was climate action.
Yes.
And because
Yes.
we got a direction from
Yes.
city council,
Right.
they wanted us to be working on city council. No action is taken. So we're not going to talk about
I get
climate
it.
action.
Okay.
But again, this was just to kind of give
Okay.
Okay.
a skeleton of where to go. But
So we can hone it down as we get closer, is what we're saying.
true,
Great.
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
we've got a subcommittee to work on
Great.
it. I mean, it's
Right.
absolutely.
And again, I'm just putting myself on the record saying, I think if they should be Calabasas-based to start with, and then if we don't have enough things to talk about that are happening right here in our city, then we can
Fair
go
enough.
beyond, that's all.
I think that's fair. Any other comments? So seeing none, I would like to make a formal vote that we, Because this way, we don't have to come back later and say, well, should we have the forum be about water conservation or about electric vehicles, right? We have a theme, we can tell our city council members, we can tell our community. Okay, so I'm gonna,
Make a motion?
I've made a motion, we've got a second, so we're gonna go ahead and, I'll call the question. Larissa?
Yes. I agree.
I agree. JC?
Aye.
Whitney? And I agree as well. And you students are going to work on it. You don't get to agree, but you have to work on it. All right, thank you for that. Moving on to E, other commissions. And we've got, you know what, I'm just going to go down this list and just, other subcommittees, sorry.
The rest of these were all like passed.
Some of these, you know, you may not, I just want to remind people what subcommittees exist. So there's native plants with Beth and Whitney, which I know Beth is really excited about, but I don't know that if there's a presentation. She didn't send me, I emailed her and said, do you want to speak on anything?
There's no presentation, but I would like everybody to.
Wait. Your turn.
My home won Best Native Garden of Calabasas.
Woo!
From the Water District. We got a really cool basket and recognition.
Can you send us pictures, please?
Yeah, my native garden was absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, very little water, no anything added to it, and it was like a rainbow. It was absolutely gorgeous. So yep.
So if we can
I'm
just
pretty
get Howard,
stoked on that.
we can get Howard Schwartz to do native gardens all over the city.
Yeah, it'll be a good committee.
If you guys have anything to report at the next meeting, please share. Climate action on hold. Please let us know if that changes. Water conservation. That was me and Beth. Again, we don't have anything to report, but hoping to maybe organize a water district tour or something later in the year, perhaps, once we start really getting going again. Public forum we touched on. Arbor Day. Arbor Day, that is me and Beth, and that is, the proposed date is March 16, and the location is Deanza Park. So they have now hit every school, every public school in Calabasas. So now we're looking at moving this to Deanza Park. And again, part of the emphasis is on that connection of the two trails. More information to follow, but please mark your calendars, March 16 and Deanza Park. All right? Water Conservation Subcommittee. Okay, I covered that. Climate Action. Student Earth Day. JC and Whitney.
We have not started planning for 2024 yet. There's clearly a date somewhere, I'm sure. Thought we were very successful this year in sort of looking at things in a categorization type of way, and then working on getting additional vendors. So I'm pretty confident that come 2024 we will once again triumph in our planning.
Cool. If you guys have anything to add, nope. All right, cool. Student pumpkin, done. Okay, next, any final, oh, you know what, since we're on subcommittees, it might make sense to add a subcommittee at some point on the creek restoration and the Ridge Dam, and so let's give some thought to that. I don't know if there's enough interest to make a motion, but if there are commissioners that would like to be on a subcommittee.
It's funny that you say that, because I was going to say your water conservation could absorb some of that into at least, some agenda type actions you can work on.
No, that's
And so we already kind of have a water conservation. Both of those things fit there. So that's really something you should discuss. And then maybe you can bring in some of the student members to help expand on it.
Okay, I like that. And since water conservation is me and Beth, just let that reflect that if you can share information with me and Beth, with the subcommittee we already have, let us know how we can be supportive of those efforts. Any other subcommittee information? No. All right, let's move into commissioner comments. And why don't we start with the students?
All right, so this is mostly going to be a quick update on what
Introduce yourself.
I'm Noah Shapiro,
Yeah, what's your title?
student representative. So our longtime advisor for Roots and Shoots, Ms. Foley, retired at the end of last year. So currently we are in search of getting a new advisor for the club. But Club Rush is coming up in approximately 3 weeks. And we set a goal for 50 members, like active members this year, compared to the 35 that we had last year. At the environmental forum, we sold succulents last February, and we raised $250 for the club. And then all of second semester, we set up promotions around school to remind kids to throw their trash away and just be overall environmentally friendly. So here's one of the little posters that we put up. This was a little one in the boys' bathroom because that is one of the dirtiest places in school right now. And then And then throughout all of last second semester, and we are continuing to keep in contact with admin about a possible hydration station funded through Roots and Shoots to go in the gym, since right now they don't have one. So athletes during their games are forced to go buy plastic water bottles from the snack shack if they run out of water. That is all. Thank you.
Does everyone understand what, there's Club Rush, Roots and Shoots, hydration station, any of those? We need a glossary of, I was talking to my kids earlier and trying to understand what the word Riz meant. So does anybody have any questions for Noah? No? Navin, you want to say anything? Maybe introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Navin Parmar. I'm the new alternate student member. I don't really have anything to report right now or anything, but I guess I'm just looking forward to doing these new events, especially the Pumpkin Festival. I think that'll be fun.
Great. I'll let the subcommittee chairs of that Pumpkin Festival know that you're excited. Whitney.
A year ago, we met in the principal's office, and that conversation came up about not having the hydration station. So I'm pretty disappointed in the high school. I know it's not a city thing, but athletes being encouraged to buy plastic water bottles because they don't have a hydration station seems like it's a problem.
Well, the good news is they're trying to raise money to buy one, so maybe we can help them. It's a good point. It's a good point. Next commissioner, Larissa, you want to speak? Any updates or thoughts?
I think I'm okay right now. Thanks.
JC?
I just want to say two things. One is welcome to the commission, to both of you. Again, we said it informally out there, but I'm saying it on the record here. And I want to thank my fellow commissioners for being so supportive while I was the chair. I welcome Phil and Treya, who have worked with us in between our meetings, and it has been a rocky year of changes, but I think we all held on very tightly and still were super successful at all of our public events. And everyone that knows me knows that's sort of my thing, and I think that shows everything, that you can stick together as a team, work together even when you're new, and be successful. So I look forward to being able to do that again as a plain old commissioner over here.
Whitney? Any comments? All right, I've just got a few, of course. First of all, we do need to have some interim meetings and/or best practice sessions. So I am formally requesting that of staff. I know that there's a staff shortage still, but as early as is reasonably possible, Phil and Treya, if you can please help us to have a meeting, as well as potentially scheduling a best practice session. You can hear that we're all really excited to get back to work and would appreciate staff. Hire some people already, so we can get back to work. I also wanted to mention that there were a couple of public comments earlier by two people who talked about issues related to anticoagulant rodenticide. And I was on a subcommittee for AR many years ago, 8-9 years ago, and that issue was just coming up. And I know that Randy struggled to come up with the name of that product. I don't know, I can't pronounce it any better than she did, but I know that the commercial name is Decon. And so we went into grocery stores and we're encouraging people not to sell Decon. Forget about buying it. I also want to say that there was a comment about lid lock around the commons. And I walked with my city council member, James Bazagian, recently. We walked around the entire area of the commons, and he was identifying behind the Ralphs that there were trash bins that were wide open. And the expression that there was a smorgasbord for rats, it's so true. I mean, and it's because those lids are open that the rats come. The way to get rid of the rats is not to poison them and the coyotes and everything else in our ecosystem. The way to get rid of the rats is to lock the lids, and we need to double down on that. And so anybody who's checking out bins, it's the same thing at the high schools, by the way, the litter, the trash, that's why the custodians there have trouble. And so there was legislation from a student representative a few years ago, Zach Rossoff, who really pushed on that lid lock. And so we need to follow up and make sure that that's being enforced, as well as making sure that the black boxes are not being used. And that's something that we have championed for years and years. So let's keep doing so. I also want to encourage, I would like to increase our efforts to increase resident involvement. I'd like to see more people here at our meetings now that we are in person, as well as our programs. Let's really get the push on to get people to the Pumpkin Festival and to check out our booth, to support our programs, the Arbor Day, the Forum, the Earth Day. We spend a lot of energy and time and staff time and resources, and these programs are some of the highlights of Calabasas. Calabasas missed out on, was it Flower Day or something this year? I don't know if you remember, Phil, but there was something that had to be canceled because of staff shortages. I mean, we're a tree city, and we need to get the residents out to celebrate. All those beautiful flowers that are there in the medians are fed with gray water. We have a lot to be proud of, and so we should be making sure we get residents out. I also want to encourage my fellow city council, my other commissioners, to meet with your city council member. I just mentioned I went walking with James. I really would like it if each one of you could talk to these people, because David, Alicia, Peter, and Ed do not know as much as we do about the environment, and we need to put the effort in. Let them know they can make changes in the city, and they can go back to Ed's boss and to Kindon and to help make things happen for us, like hiring and things like that. So please, I encourage you, meet with your city council members and meet with your subcommittees. All right, I'll be quiet. Thank you. That's all I've got. Any other, let's see, before we adjourn, just recommendations for future meetings and meeting items. Council requests that the Environmental Commission review environmentally sustainable procurement policy item that was presented to the council on November 22 and provide comment. Is that something maybe you can speak to, one of you?
The Community Development Department has put that together. It is really sustainable practices and in the things that we purchase, looking at what we purchase, how we purchase them. I hate to say staff shortage, but the staff member that is working on that is also engaged in two other very complex projects. So we'll be scheduling that for you as soon as we can. In December.
If that's going to be happening, would you like a subcommittee? Because again, we've been hamstringed by not being able to meet, but our subcommittees are able to meet. Would it help staff to have a subcommittee formed to work on procurement with the city?
So essentially just what council is asking is for community development to present to you what was presented to them and just provide basic comment for them to go back.
So somebody will come to our next meeting and give us some update on the procurement policies, and kind of like Melina spoke to us today.
Correct.
All right, we'll look forward to that presentation. Council also requested that the Environmental Commission establish a program that recognizes sustainable homes and brings back the Green Business Program. Amen. We used to have a subcommittee on the Green Business Program, which if city council is asking us to get that going again, I'm all for that. Are there commissioners that would be interested in?
I have a question. Is this also going to be put together as a staff report and presented to us? So this is coming straight to us as a initiative to review? Okay. Is there any further information that came along with this?
I do not believe so.
Okay. I do know it was said at a city council meeting. I just don't know what happened between the time it was said and the time it got on the agenda, so, okay.
So I would be willing to be on that subcommittee as well. And if anyone here or later, we could add a second commissioner, if any of you are interested, or Beth. But why don't you?
Put it on for the next meeting to discuss?
Yeah, but can we make a motion to at least approve, because city council has actually asked us for this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion that we establish a subcommittee on the green business program and sustainable homes. I guess it's related to in the city for city council. Is there a second?
So will the
Wait. Just second it so we can have discussion.
I second it.
Thank you.
Fine.
JC.
Sorry, I need to be precise about things. So will the subcommittee be able to go back to city council and ask them what the requirements are that they're looking for? Because we're not, or are we looking to develop the requirements? Do we know anything about that? As I'm saying, that's the good thing the subcommittee could do, is to put those questions out there, like, this is a very broad thing to do. What are you looking for? What are the deadlines?
I think that's fair. Can staff come back to the subcommittee with some information on,
Or does the subcommittee
if
become?
staff is coming, you know what, share it with the entire commission, actually. If staff is sharing that information, so it's not just a subcommittee. If it's coming from you, you can do that. I think that's a fair.
Well, that's why I think it's on here for the future, but you want to put it on.
Well, I want to have an established body that they can be so I want to hit the ground running. I don't want it to be, we meet again in 6 months and then we start talking about things.
Okay, yeah, I second.
Will you get back to us and just let us know? I think JC's question is a good one. Basically, just, are they looking for direction from us, or are they looking for us to review what they're going to do, right? In terms of the green business and things like that.
Details. Just a little bit of detail so that we know what direction the subcommittee can.
You know who you may want to start with is Alicia, because she's the one who initially started that, and she's the mayor pro tem anyway, and she'll be able to answer that probably, is my guess.
No, yeah, I'll definitely get back to commissioners on
Appreciated.
preciseness.
So we actually have a motion and a second. Is there any other comment on this? Then I'm going to call the question. All in favor of there being of the formation of a subcommittee, say aye.
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 Thank you. Commission request for outside presentations. I heard someone make a discussion earlier of the battery, those Daniel and Eli's battery. So maybe there could be follow-up about them making a presentation. Maybe.
I think that it would be a great idea if the city created a battery box inspired by what inspired Daniel, which was the shoebox with the sides, and maybe like some Calabasas swag. It goes into every home. We have a place to put the batteries. I know that I dropped off a bunch of batteries at the swim center the other day, and some people have it in their own containers. They just leave it on the side. I had mine in the bag, so I put them in that tube thing. But maybe if they were just stackable boxes, I kind of like that idea.
I think that's great. I believe that there may even be one in City Hall, but if you could have them come and present to us, we don't have to take more time tonight, but I think it would be good for all of us to learn more about what they're doing.
You're talking about the tubes or actually collection boxes?
They're not, the thing at the Townsend Swim isn't theirs, I think they told me over coffee.
No, I know that's.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying it would be cool, like, to create maybe a box inspired by these two kids from Calabasas who are creating an easy way to collect your batteries. Like, I have my batteries in a glass jar. I would very much like a cardboard box, and then with the sides, just like they said, that's how they were inspired, a shoebox. And if the city considered doing one, then when our boxes are full, we have a proper place to drop it and stack it.
Like
Just
with-
a thought.
So let's follow up with those two, and,
I think it's a good idea for the city.
okay. All right.
I know they like the compost bin at the Pumpkin Festival. It's like a great
Right.
giveaway, and it's really mindful that we do compost bins, battery recycle collection. I did a social post about dropping off my. I did a social post about dropping off my batteries, and the city said that it was measurable. They got so many batteries dropped off in that like few days of when I did the post. People were like, "Oh, I'm going to go drop them." People want to drop their batteries. They don't know where to drop them, and they don't have the right containers. So we should talk about it another time.
And just to add to that, we could actually print on that box the locations to drop it off at. And that way they would know. Anyway, just say, okay.
I love that. I love it. I love the discussion. So if you can ask those students to come, they've obviously inspired us. They've got us excited. So maybe we can have some takeaway at the end of their presentation next meeting. Future, just again, we're about to adjourn, but any other comments? Sorry on that. No. Okay. Future Environmental Commission meetings and events. I'll just go down these really quickly. On Friday, October 6th, there is a walk to school event, so which is always exciting. The kids are walking to school, and it used to be walk to school Wednesday, so now it's a Friday.
It is on Wednesday.
Yeah. So, what's
It's
that?
on a Wednesday.
Oh, there's Wednesday?
It is on a Wednesday.
Oh, I thought October 6th.
Looking at September.
Oh my gosh. All right, October
Oh, I do have the date wrong. It is the 4th, October 4th.
4th. Oh, so
Walk
it's a
to school day,
misprint on the.
October 4th. I'll get it fixed.
All right, so it's. Well, I caught
It is
that.
a Wednesday.
All right, so it's October 4th. Walk to school Wednesday. Recycling calendar entries are due October 20th. Thank you, and you'll get more information to us on that. Creek tour at the Pumpkin Festival that was referenced earlier is going to be October 22nd. Commission meeting, put these on your calendar, guys. February 6th, the annual environmental forum date we don't have yet, but we should hopefully soon. Arbor Day, March 16th. Earth Day is to be announced. Quarterly meeting, May 7th. And our next meeting of our group, if we're not able to get staff before that, will be December 5. Any other comments? Thank you all very much. Look forward to being in touch. Meeting adjourned.